Hey, this is Nate with Zbroz, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about our EXIT 2.5-inch X2 shock. This is our premium shock offering for your sport AT or UTV that's out there. So Can-Am X3, Razor XP1000, Razor Turbo S, Pro XP, Honda Talon R, you name it, we've got an application and a specific spec for those cars. But I just want to talk about some of the features of this shock. One, it's a 2.5-inch shock, so it has a large 2.5-inch aluminum shock body. We utilize an aluminum shock body for a couple of reasons. One, it cools better, and in the shocking world, it's important to dissipate heat and have that energy that's actually going to the shock as it's suspending the car and working through its travel converts into energy, and we want to dissipate that heat or that energy so that you can ride longer, ride harder, and hit those, the fun trails that you like at higher speeds. Now, aluminum shock body, aluminum reservoir, large diameter, large capacity reservoir. That way we have a maximum amount of nitrogen, as well as a little bit of extra oil transfer. We run 3/4 and 7/8 shafts depending on the travel and the application. So you have to have a large reservoir, especially for the 3/4 and 7/8 inch shaft applications, because as that oil transfers into the reservoir, it has to have somewhere to go. So you have to have that large capacity reservoir. We also offer on our shock both a compression and a rebound adjustment knob, and that's standard with our X2. A lot of the shocks that come factory are going to have compression adjustment only and no rebound adjustment. The rebound is extremely nice because it's a knob style. So if you can see here, it's just a knurled knob. You don't have to have tools. You can just turn the knob. You feel the click detents. And the nice thing about rebound is it's able to allow you to make a quick adjustment. So once you dial in your preload and your crossover and you find yourself feeling a little bit of harshness in really rocky stuff, and you don't have the ability to speed up or slow down your rebound with a non-rebound adjustable shock, just a simple turn of the knob and it can make a huge difference in the ride quality. And then of course the compression knob is a little bit more common, where you're able to adjust compression dampening and stiffen up the overall compression stroke of the shock. And then lastly, talk a little bit about spring rates. All of our spring rates on these shocks are going to be specific to the car. So whether it's a 2-seater, 4-seater, we're usually accounting for extra weight just because most people don't run a bone stock car. So our spring rates are going to be set up for some of that extra weight. Accessories like windshields, aftermarket roll cages, spare tires, stuff like that. So we're generally just tuning for a car for those extra accessories. So just count on that when you get an exit shock. You have the ability to add some preload to adjust your ride height. It's a threaded preload adjuster with a simple pinch nut. So none of the kind of crazy double nut styles that are a pain to work with and tear your hands up. There's a small little hole in here. You're able to put a 1/4 inch punch in there, or I like to cut off a screwdriver and use that for a preload adjustment. So as you get the car in the air and it's unweighted and you're not able to turn it by hand, you can simply put a 1/4 inch punch in that hole and add preload to that. And again, it has a little pinch bolt here, and that's how you'll loosen that so that you can make a preload adjustment. And then you can also see inside of the dual rate applications on the majority of our shock setups, there's going to be a crossover nut. And it utilizes a similar design where it has some pinch bolts here. You loosen those, and then you're able to simply spin this down or up depending on if you want it to transition or become stiffer sooner. So as you go closer to the mainspring, your bottoming resistance is going to increase because you're going to cross over from your tender spring to your mainspring sooner. And as you move away, it's going to transition later and be softer. So we generally set these up in kind of a average user application, but if you have a heavier car and you've added some preload to the setup, you may want to also consider adjusting your crossover at the same time. As always, you can call our customer service team, reach out to us online, and you can get your EXIT 2.5-inch X2 shocks at zbrozracing.com.